Alright. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so hi, I'm SeductiveSpatula.
I'm Joner.
And this is Vessel. Vessel is a 2D puzzle platformer. It sort of starts off with a 1 minute 35 second cutscene, so that just introduces the basic story and stuff, so I'll let you enjoy that. And just talk a little bit about it, because we have a lot of time to in the initial parts of the run to talk about the mechanics and stuff. So basically, we play as this inventor dude. He created these guys called fluoros. Yeah, you can see my cursor, so it's fun. These guys called fluoros. They basically consist of some kind of fluid and then a little mechanical eyeball, and they essentially automate a lot of tedious processes like manufacturing and stuff like that. So he made them to essentially do boring jobs for people. So they push buttons and stuff like that. I should have disabled that. I'm accidentally gonna hit that a bunch. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's the basic story. We made some things, but now after being hailed as this amazing inventor because of our invention, now our invention has started to get a bit out of hand, and they've started creating themselves basically, and then stuff like this happens, where they lock us out of our own workshop. But yeah. So again, this is a 2D puzzle platformer. The fluoros and puzzles involving the fluoros are going to be the main part of the game, but the game does I think the game does a pretty good job of pacing everything and starting out simple, so we don't actually get access to those for a little while. So as of right now, it's just a lot of basic platforming. So yeah, it's just a lot of running and jumping. When you run off a ledge in this game, you have half a second to jump in the air, which we're gonna use a couple times. But yeah, like this. We don't actually have control of this guy. He'll always just do the same thing, but we can see that, oh, these guys like to push buttons. So if there's a button to press, these fluoros, I just call them worker fluoros, they will always seek out buttons. Hey, we got a good jump. And yeah, here they again show off the basics of the game with the fluid mechanics, or the fluid physics. Oh, I clipped through the ceiling for a little bit there. Yeah, so this game has a bit of a slow start, but yeah, the tutorial is 20 minutes long, so starts off a bit slow, but it really picks up, and we get to see some interesting stuff after a little while.
Yeah,
right.
Once we'll get access to a nozzle thing that he can use to manipulate the fluids. There's gonna be a lot more interesting things happening.
I did a little skip there. It saves 10 seconds. You just push the little bridge thing yourself. And this is another skip that saves 40 seconds. Where if you just go fast, you make it before the dude has a chance to even lock the door. Skip the basics of the puzzle. But yeah, so as of right now, there's gonna be just a lot of small optimizations. But we're soon gonna do a couple skips that save 10-15 minutes at a time. So yeah, as of right now, this is pretty basic stuff. Ladders can be pretty difficult to manage in this game, or move on. You basically want to jump and grab the ladder at the top of your jump. It's like you're climbing and then you jump and then you grab it again. That's the fastest way to climb it, but sometimes you just can't grab the ladder again, and then I was about to say I'm screwed. Alright, so what happened there is this light over the button isn't supposed to light up until you have enough fluid in this machine to make a fluoro. I'm gonna spin it a couple extra times then. There we go. But yeah, sometimes it lights up really early, and you need a little bit of extra fluid, otherwise it won't. The fluoro won't have enough fluid to survive, or actually be created, and then with these grates, you can also get kind of screwed over if your fluid doesn't have enough have enough mass. Right. So once again, these fluoros really like to push buttons. So here we're just gonna light up buttons to entice him to go over this way and spin this wheel thing. So yeah,
This
pretty
is the
basic
structure of
puzzles.
most puzzles in the game, to try to manipulate things to steer the fluoros in different ways.
Yeah, this is obviously really early on, so they're super simple. They get a lot more complicated when we get to the final levels. Right, so this is, for all intents and purposes, an auto-scroller. This is in my opinion, the worst part of the entire run. So if you have anything to talk about or any donations or anything, just go for it whenever. I'm just gonna chill out for like a minute.
A $5 anonymous donation that says, I don't know what to say, so I'm just donate. Which is nice. Thank you for that donation.
Awesome. Because I'm gonna attempt something here. It's really dumb and it hardly ever works. But I'm gonna try to place this thing, open the door, and grab this fast enough to go under. And it absolutely didn't work. Okay, whatever. You have like a second to do that because the fluoro is so close to the button. Yeah, now we have a lot more time. Alright. So yeah, this game is, in my opinion, a fantastic puzzle game. I absolutely love it. It doesn't hold your hand at all, which can lead to some frustrating moments or confusing moments and stuff like that. But at the same time, it also gives you those are the kinds of games that give you a real sense of accomplishment when you finally figure stuff out on your own. And it's a shame, but I don't really feel like a lot of people have played this game. Oh, 6 strat coming up. I'm gonna press right once. Amazing strat. Alright, we're done with the worst part. Let's move on. So next boss is gonna be basic. This is essentially completely random, because you have to rely on the AI of not 1 but 4 different fluoros. They need to hit all these 4 buttons at the same time, and they usually just end up like jumping between 2 buttons and blocking each other's path, making this incredibly slow. Also, you can see there the springs on the bottom of the buttons are really stiff, so sometimes you don't have enough speed to actually push the button, which is really frustrating, but it's fun. Right, so I need to be careful now because this guy's gonna jump over, so I need to not block him. I did. Excellent. I didn't have time to slow down. Yeah, it's fine. Now this guy's gonna do the same. So let's take it slow. Okay. So we're creating one last dude here now. We should have enough mass. And now we just wait. It's currently not. Okay, that's not too bad.
The AI is pretty reliable, but if you want to do really precise things, or like timing-based things like this, it can be a bit annoying to get it to behave.
Yeah, they're predictable in that you always know like what they'll do, but at what point they'll do that thing, it's kind of random. And again, when you have to rely on quite a few different fluoros, then stuff starts getting interesting. And there's one part in particular at the end of Orchard which is notoriously awful. Heyo.
Hey.
Welcome to the factory. Right, so I'm gonna do a little bit of an optimization here. So while this cutscene is playing, I'm gonna trigger a different cutscene. So instead of the camera panning all the way to the left and then panning all the way to the right to show that I opened the door on the right too, it just shows it once. However, since all fluid has like collision essentially, or like, yeah, physics, I might actually accidentally push this lever again. Okay, it's fine. Never mind, that's good. So what we're doing right here is we're trying to turn, there we go, trying to turn these little lever things in the right order, because this one controls this door, like going up and down, and this one over here controls the other door. So we need to like activate the doors at the right time, so you can let us through here, and then we can move along. But by setting up the way I did, we'll be able to just run up here and ignore. Normally you can grab this thing and just pull it over and like fill up tanks to trigger the buttons and have it move back and forth. But by doing this, we can basically one cycle the entire thing. Alright, we didn't fall in the water, excellent. And now we get to, again, like I said, I like the pacing in this game because it really eases you into things, into ideas. We've now mostly been reliant on fluoros that are already created for us, and fluid just moving around naturally. Whereas now we're gonna use this machine to make a fluoro, and then we're gonna use the needle down here, which is like an extractor thing to extract the little mechanical eyeballs that I mentioned. And that will actually allow us to pull out one of those whenever we want. So as long as we have a source of fluid, we can just create a fluoro whenever we want. And the game will expand on that idea later. So just do this. Also, as you have probably noticed, I assume you can hear the music fine. The music in this game is excellent. It's by a man named John Hopkins, and he's made some amazing music, not specifically for this game, but he actually gave the developers like the project files so they could change how the soundtrack works. So every song has like different layers with like different instruments and stuff like that, and in the game they basically make the soundtrack adaptive. So depending on what you're doing and how close you are to the solution of a puzzle, they like make the music more intense or more orchestral and stuff like that, which is a really, really nice touch. I absolutely love this game for the music. So yeah, now we have access to these guys. So this is, again, the basic fluoro. I just call him the worker fluoro. He just pushes buttons, that's all he does. So assuming there's a light or like a lit up button, then he or they will run over there and push the button as soon as possible. Alright, so this thing is kind of janky, where I want to shoot one of the seeds up there. That did not work. Alright, so this is unfortunate, but it's fun. Try to save it by doing this. There we go. It's essentially random if you get that or not. Like, because when you drop a seed, you see they bounce around, and it's because they have an irregular shape. It's pretty difficult to predict how they'll behave. And I'm actually at the bottom of this little hallway. I'm actually going to try a strat I found yesterday, where because these seeds have collision, I'm going to try to stick this under a door and lift it up. And if that works, it saves a decent bit of time. So what you're normally going to do here, because there's water down here, I'm going to make a fluoro and he's supposed to push the button. I'm going to try to push the button myself and then run over here as fast as possible, stick the thing under, and yes! Awesome! It's actually pretty tight. It doesn't save a huge amount of time, but it saves like 8 seconds or something waiting for the fluoro to get fully created and move all the way over. So you might have been able to see there, the seeds attract fluids. So you can use them to control fluids like this. So they heard, like as soon as I got up here, the game, or the sound kind of, the music, sorry, kind of picked up and got more intense. There we go. Alright, so now we get to, I guess not the first skip, we've done a couple minor skips. This one actually is pretty significant, and it's, in my opinion, very, very cool. So these pads with the spikes obviously kill you if you touch them. Only when they're going down. You can jump into them as much as you want and you won't die. But what we're gonna do is get on top of this one and jump up here immediately, which avoids having to walk all the way to the right of the room. So if this doesn't move too much... Aww, he blocked me and I bonked. He should be making his way over here soon, so it's fun. Still saves a bunch of time. Okay. Come on. This is, however, the problem, because these guys run essentially randomly. Okay. There we go, finally. That's dumb. That should not have taken as long as it did, but oh well. It happens. Oh, that thing just disappeared. Yeah, essentially, you'll see when I ride over this like zipline thing that it skips running all the way over at the bottom here. All the way over to the right, opening a door, and then running all the way back to the left. That's fine, this is fine. You can take a little bit of damage and still be fine. Right. Now we're gonna use this elevator thing that you could barely see for a second there. And the way to activate it is by spinning this little valve wheel thing with the little teacups. Oh, that's a bad start. We'll try to help it along. Yeah, okay, now we should be fine. Okay, I just need to. Okay. Sometimes you see your character gets stuck in like a sliding thing instead of running. He gets stuck in like a sliding animation, and when he does that, you can't actually jump normally, and controlling him is very awkward. So you want to make sure you avoid that as much as possible. So once again, in this puzzle, we need to push this button. So we're gonna drop a seed down there, and then we'll leave this seed like kind of close to the ladder, and that will, as you saw earlier, the water would normally not make it here, but because of the seed attracting the water, we can now make it over. And here we'll do the same thing. This door is very slow to open, so we're gonna try to stick a seed under it, and just like area. That's fine. All right, and now we get the next big change to the gameplay of this, I guess. So we now have access to the little seed thing, and now we're gonna get access to a little like water gun essentially. That's gonna make us able to store liquid whenever we want, and in a pretty funny way, as you'll see in a few minutes. I'm just gonna let this guy push the button for me. Right, there we go. Just makes things safer. It's really easy to kill him if you're not careful. Right, so here I'm just trying to line. That's not good. Controlling these things can be kind of difficult. Okay, that's fine. Let's pull that a little bit down.
So Spad is just trying to line these up to get the water through all of them.
Yeah, you need to get the water into the top thing here. Okay, that's not bad. For what it was, that's not bad. Okay, I'm gonna also try to jump and grab this on my way down. It's not super difficult, but it's fun. Also, I'll do some small hops on the stairs here. Going down slopes and stairs, you get like, you get a little slide and a little bit of speed boost. A little bit of a speed boost when you go downstairs. Alright, so this puzzle, you're supposed to hit all these 3 buttons at the same time. But this particular button is bugged. So if you time it, you can just fill it with just this button. There we go. One of the first strats I found in this game. I was really happy to find it. Doesn't work with any of the other buttons, just that one. And once again, just gonna do like small taps to slide down these stairs, and it's actually way faster. Alright, so I have a bit of a different strat for this than I used to have. Hopefully this guy just gets enough fluid. Oh, that's not good. Okay, let's do this again. Alright, it's not. Cool. So we need to guide the water all the way to the top of these pipes. Just leave this here, and then just leave this here, and just try to get a bunch of water and just drag it up. A little more. There we go. And one thing you may have noticed me doing, like I didn't mention it because it's not a big deal. Here it is a big deal. It saves like 28 seconds. What I'm going to do here, as soon as the gun appears in my hand, I'm going to click reset current puzzle, and that teleports me all the way to the top, and I still have the gun. Normally there's like a 15-second period where you can't even move. And now we have access to tanks of fluid, so all the basic mechanics of the game are in place now, and then we'll just expand on those ideas as we go.
Hey, Spat.
Yep.
We might have a $5 donation from a person you might know.
Okay.
The person goes by the name of Random Pink Bunny.
Hey!
Says, good luck, Spat, on your run. You're amazing, and I love you lots.
Aww.
A lot of hearts.
Oh god. Thank you, I appreciate it. My character got a bit too excited, but that's fun. What? This isn't working. This is broken. I don't get. Okay, whatever. Didn't get enough heights. Whatever, that's fun, that's fun. I love you too. Oh god. Should still be fun? Yeah. Alright. So what I'm doing right now, if you look at the left side of my tank, my tank is empty, but I'm actually like, it's like I'm filling up the tank like backwards. So I call this infinite fluid glitch or IFG just because of the lulz. And because we're totally Saldu. And yeah, essentially if you spray from an empty tank, so you can do this as soon as you acquire your second tank, which is in this case is the protoplasm tank, which we'll get into in a couple seconds. But yeah, if you start spraying from an empty tank, change to a full tank, or a tank with fluid in it, and then change back. Instead of just not spraying anything, you spray infinitely. So we're kind of underflowing the fluid levels, and we can spray as much as we want. And this is the first place where that's really important, because the protoplasm tank that we picked up just now, the pink one, is used for upgrading your gun, so you can get different nozzles and like tank capacities and stuff. And normally you can only like afford one basic upgrade here, but because we have infinite of protoplasm, we can just buy as many things as we want. So we're getting this nozzle, which creates, as you see on the illustration on the right, it creates like a full-on fluoro in the gun. And once again, I'm going to controls for some reason. Resetting puzzle to skip the animation of waiting for stuff. I'm also just checking that I got the upgrade. But yeah, this one, the one we just got, creates a fluoro in the gun, so you can just shoot a full fluoro whatever you want, which is going to be really useful for a couple puzzles later on. And this one is the biggest deal in the entire game. This nozzle is terrible in casual play. I never found any use for it. But in terms of speedrunning, it's fantastic, because it gives you a little bit of knockback. Okay, I'm gonna try to do this blind. I'm not sure if that worked. I might be on the right... Yes! Okay, excellent. It just saves having to reset puzzle and walk back to the to this thing, turn it to get the right upgrade, and then ride the elevator again. So I just rode the elevator while the animation was playing. But yeah, this nozzle is really good in the speedrun, because it gives you a little bit of knockback, and you'll see how that is used in a sec. But let's just say that a little bit of knockback, even if it's very minor, combined with infinite fluid, is very good. So we're gonna get right into the biggest skip of the game right now. This skip saves about 15 minutes. Right, so yeah, I'm just gonna waste as much fluid as I want. Normally you have to really manage your fluid and get to like checkpoints like these where they refill your fluids. Alright, so here we go. So you're supposed to go to this level right here, which is the factory, and then get access to lava, which allows you to make steam, which lets you open this gate on the left here. We're just gonna fly over it instead, and while this seems really slow, like I said, it saves about 15 minutes.
Yeah, we're basically skipping a whole piece of the game here. A pretty long section with lots of different puzzles.
And now we're skipping the next gate. And welcome to the mines. This is the last level of the game. Sadly, because of the way the game is designed, we can't just finish the last level and then be done with the game, because the game does stuff in the hub world, essentially. That's the wrong way. There we go. But what this does is it's unlocked a bunch of stuff that we didn't previously have access to. Okay, so I'm going to establish infinite here. There we go. And then just drop down. Try not to down the spikes. There we go. Alright. So yeah, now we have access to this blue goo, which is not going to be very useful yet. It will later, but yeah, more importantly, we have access to this new seed right here. Well, oh god, that was almost very bad, and it's still kind of bad. Okay, let's just fix this again. I'm gonna play this safe. I'm not gonna die and lose infinite. If you die here, it resets your fluid levels, so we can't do a little thing later.
So yeah, the sort of special thing with this world is light, if you haven't figured out already.
Yeah, so every level has its own like little, not really gimmick. Okay, let's just play this real safe. There we go. Just need to know where I'm going. There we go. This is where it's actually important. In the mine, surprisingly, you get access to the like main mechanic of the level very, very early on, which is this green tank down here. Okay, I'm just gonna drop some. This is the best way to solve this puzzle. You just drag some over, and it's enough to open the gates. Alright, so now we have access to green stuff. Green stuff lights up everywhere, and it's also really good for hovers. So now, essentially, we're going to use the hovers to just skip pretty much every puzzle for the rest of the game. Or a lot of the puzzles, at least. Gonna speed up some of them and just completely skip others. I was probably in the middle of saying something, but I can't remember. It's fine. But yeah, every... Oh yeah, that was actually it. Every stage, so the factory, the orchard, and the mines, they have their own like little mechanics. So the factory has lava, and this guy right here, the chaser fluoro, as I call him, which will chase you. It wants to reach your character, so by any means possible. So he just takes the shortest path to you, and which we're going to use a bunch to manipulate stuff. But yeah, he gets close to you and then he explodes. So that's like the main mechanics of the factory. In the orchard, you get the blue goo tank, and you also get the last fluoro that I showed earlier, which I just called the sponge fluoro. He will always seek out loose sources of whatever material it's made of. So if you made him out of green stuff, you will have to, and you spray green stuff somewhere else, he will run over there. Also, I realized about 3 days ago that, well, probably more like a week ago, I guess, that I've been solving this puzzle in a way too complicated way. And this is the casual way of doing it, and I've just never done it. I've let him down here and have him jump up and stuff, and it's way faster to do this. And I never realized. Alright, so let's get some fluids going. Alright, I'm gonna grab a little bit extra water too. And then we get going here. So this is what a lot of puzzles are going to be like. We're going to hover up somewhere and just ignore the main mechanic. Here you're supposed to make a fluoro that is... that's another like, gimmick of this stage, I guess. You're supposed to make a fluoro that is afraid of the dark. So he will... so you're supposed to spray green stuff into these like little canals here. Or whatever you want to call them. And that will... And by doing that, guide the fluoro around. But we don't want to do that, we just hover over. And this is our first numbered puzzle. There we go. So you see the little green check mark there, that's, well, I've solved one puzzle. So in every stage there's some numbered puzzles that unlock these gates. This room at the end is like a special room, and then there's the boss. This should still be okay. Okay, that's kind of bad actually. We're gonna fix this. So right now I'm just spraying a bunch, and I'm changing to my fluoro gun, which automatically resets my fluid levels. And then I can shoot whatever I want. Which I didn't know about until like a couple months ago. And it's really useful for managing your fluid, so... Well, essentially fluid management in this game is now, after we realized the infinite fluid stuff is essentially irrelevant. Fluid management isn't a big deal anymore. But there's still like certain parts where you want to have infinite fluid and certain parts where you really don't want to. So again, this is the guy who's afraid of the dark, so he'll follow this dude because he's made of light. And then we just move on.
Yeah, so this is an example of a puzzle where you just use multiple of the different fluoros combined to solve them.
Oops. Alright. So now we've done 2 of the numbered puzzles. And then the next one we're actually just going to ignore for now, because we can speed it up later by by using some first we don't yet have access to. Specifically the one that's afraid of the dark. Gotta grab all this. So again, we're just sucking up the green stuff to make the fluoro stand right there, and then we're gonna take away all this light, and then it's gonna commit suicide, and that's gonna trigger this button. Quite a few of these puzzles are just gonna be doing them like the way it's intended, but fast, because of course you know what to do. But when we get to Orchard and especially the factory, because again we're doing the entire game backwards basically. So when we get to Orchard and Factory, we do some pretty fancy stuff. Right. So this puzzle I'm just going to ignore for now, and then we're going to get back later to save like 25 seconds or something by doing things faster. Alright. So I'd say we're probably like halfway done with mines, which is good. Mines is the most difficult section of the game for sure, which makes sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of different options when you get to this point. A lot of different fluoros and fluids. It's kind of tricky to figure out what the game actually wants you to use for the different puzzles.
Yeah, there's quite a few puzzles that have different different solutions. Okay, actually let's do it here. So this is a big puzzle where you're supposed to make sure you end up with some vapor of this green stuff, but since we can fly, we just hover over the entire puzzle. Just ignore everything. So I'll skip there. Again, it's not a big deal. It just if you hit corners, you can usually get an extra jump off if you've hit like the very edge of it. All right, so let's grab this, and I think we're too slow for that one. So I need another one. I'm just sucking up these green blobs because down here there's one dude that's afraid of the light, and he moves back and forth, and that makes the crushy things crush you, and we don't really feel like getting crushed. It's not fast, trust me. Yeah, this is fun. Yeah, I'm just gonna stick with this. It's fun. All right, and here there's a dude who's afraid of the dark. So try not to get squished. The squishy things also, or the smashy things also hurt you on the way up, so gotta be a little bit careful. Another puzzle where this guy is, once you turn off the light, it's dark enough for him to spawn, and then you have to guide him all the way up to this button, or you can just hover there yourself. Okay, so I have a few like audio cues in this game. This one is going to be the biggest one. I'm going to move quite far blind. Okay, I think we should be fine. Yeah, okay, cool. So I just moved really far left and then like down this like S-shaped pathway. Doing that during the animation is faster than resetting. Alright. So now we're gonna get access to the two last fluoros of the game, which is the dark and the light fluoro, the one that's afraid of the dark and one that's afraid of the light. So we need to do the extraction stuff again. Let's change to the normal one. Right. So as soon as I run out of water there, I just change quickly to the blue tank and then just keep spraying. Come on. Any minute now.
This bed is basically replacing the light fluid with water there to make that fluoro go out.
Yeah, that's actually good enough. Sweet. Alright. And this button, or this like spinny valve thing, is kind of bugged. So I'm actually not going to grab the seed right away. I'm going to go down here and just start working on the other guy. Because if you grab him right away and then you try to extract the next dude, then... Excuse me, there we go. I'm just gonna do this normal way, it's safer. So I'm gonna grab it now actually. And then it freezes me in place. You might have seen me do this a couple times. So I just open the journal real quick. So that actually gives me back control of my character. Okay, so we're just gonna lead this guy over here. Come on. There you go. Excuse me? Right. I wonder if that would have worked. But yeah, sometimes when you like stick the needle into that guy, this spinny thing doesn't appear. And I have no idea why. So you have to wait for like 30 seconds before it pops up. But it seems to be pretty random. But I've had more luck if I do things in this order. Oops, there we go. Alright. Oh, I should have done the thing. Okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. Right here I don't really want infinite fluid, so I'm going to switch back to my fluoro gun, reset my water levels, and then I'm going to just suck up a bunch of water here, if I can actually make it up there. Movement in this game can be very difficult, because... Alright, this is actually the first time we used the fluoro gun. Yeah, there we go. So you just do it like that. You charge up a bunch of stuff and then you just shoot him down a hole. Yeah, I was saying something, but whatever, it's probably not important. Right.
Movement is kind of wonky at times.
Uh-oh. Okay, it's fine, it's fine. So yeah, we just need to let this guy down, so we need to create like the right environment essentially for each fluoro. So you want to turn off the light and have light at the end for the light one, and then do the opposite for the dark one. Alright. So in each level there's a number of numbered puzzles, and the way the game is laid out, which I really like, is that one of them is optional. Like you can pick whichever you don't like, and you just don't have to do that one. If you do it, you're rewarded with some protoplasm, which again is used for upgrades, so it's often like a lot of fun and worth it to actually complete like one extra or all the machines or the numbered puzzles. But for the speedrun, of course, we don't actually care because we have infinite protoplasm. So we just ignore whatever puzzle is the longest or the most inconsistent. So I just ran past, I think it's it's puzzle number 5, I believe. So once we get to puzzle number 6, we're gonna go back to puzzle number 3 that we skipped earlier, because now we can make green dudes. Or, sorry, afraid of the dark dudes, light dudes, there we go. Once again, this puzzle is supposed to do a whole bunch of stuff like up top, but we're just gonna hover under the grate that keeps us from going there, and then we're done. Let's change to this and just start spraying and hope we get enough down there. Didn't work, but whatever, it's fun. There's not really any way of speeding this up. This also shows that when you do make green vapor, it also lights up, and it actually has some stabilizing effects when it comes to like the chemistry of the game, which is going to be useful for like lore-wise for the very end of the game, the last puzzle. Let's actually do this. I need to do this first though.
The story of the game is mainly told through sort of log entries and like information about the different things you can use in the game.
Yeah. So as he like explores different parts of the game, I guess, he takes like research notes, like, oh, I've seen this, I've come across this and this and this, and he's trying to figure out how to, I guess, how to control the fluoros. In a pretty neat way, and a really neat cutscene, in my opinion, at the end of the game. So we'll get to that when we get there. But he's basically trying to fix all his mistakes, because some of the fluoros are mutated and become a real problem. Alright, so we just spray a bunch of stuff to make more vapor up here. Once again, jumping up ladders is fast. And now we're going to return after finishing this. Instead of just resetting current puzzle, we're going to return to a previous puzzle. There we go, so let's turn to puzzle number 3. And this actually saves a bunch of time throughout the run. Okay, so the way we're going to do this is kind of weird. I think I have enough for a fluoro. I'm going to make a dark fluoro, and then I'm going to chase him. Ooh, that could be awkward. Okay, that's fine. And then we're just going to chase him down to this button instead of doing the actual like intended mechanic of the puzzle. There we go. Perfect. So again, that saves like 25 seconds. There's a really neat solution to this puzzle, like the normal solution, but it takes quite a while. I just don't feel like dying there, so I just spray a bunch of extra water so I don't die. Oh my god, come on. There we go. Now we just return to chapter, not chapter 6, puzzle number 6. And that's really the end of the mines. We're gonna head straight to the boss now, and then we'll move on to the previous level, I guess, technically. So yeah, you see all these numbers. These are the gates that are locked for each puzzle you do, and the last one is locked because we didn't do all of them. We skipped one, which is again intended that you should be able to do. All right, so relying on AI stuff is really bad. Also, this you might have to lower the volume a little bit for this part because this part is very loud. Yeah, this guy makes a lot of noise. But it only goes on for a few minutes. Oh, the bass in this headset just boom. Excellent. Yeah, relying on AI always sucks, and this is just one big have fun relying on AI area. So we need to guide this big lava dude all the way to the left to push this a little lever over here. And then all the way to the right to push the lever over there. And then we're gonna do something that's kind of cool. We kind of take control of him. I think overall this puzzle is pretty neatly designed.
It's a pretty cool boss fight. Basically, he's controlled by these buttons that the other fluoros are pressing.
Oh god.
You're sort of sending some waves that's kind of mind controlling him, I guess.
Oh my god, I need him to stand on this button. Fluoro, please. There we go, okay. But yeah, this is stuff that can happen. I just messed up there, but stuff like this can happen, and it's really, really annoying. So I need to constantly like spray a little bit of green stuff up here so he stays on this button.
So this button is telling him to go left, basically.
Alright, then as soon as he goes all the way over there, we can... Okay, touch that. Open the gates, now we can go to the other side. Actually, could you turn the game volume down a little bit for me? Right one.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks. And you can turn yourself up, actually, a little bit.
There we go.
Yep. Right, so... On the left side, where we sprayed the goo, that was the part of this room that controls... of the buttons that control the boss's movement, so left and right, and also his like major attack where he like swings his arms and stuff. In the middle, there's just a bunch of small dudes jumping back and forth and like feeding him more lava, so he won't ever run out and die. And this guy, by jumping on this button, he makes him like just like, what is that called? He just melts, kind of.
Yeah.
See that blah does this thing and then it comes up here. So we're gonna use that to have him like go down this little hole or canal thing. So when he gets here, hopefully we get that before he actually hits us. Right, so it should melt now. Then this we need to get this away as fast as possible so it's dark enough for the fluid to get back down, otherwise it'll just melt and go back up. So it should be fine now if we just hug the... Yeah, it should still be fun. If we just hug the right side here, we should walk over there. There we go. Okay, cool. So now last part of this. There's a really cool strat here that I might try to go for. I do have enough for it, so yeah. Basically, we have access to this this top part now, which is essentially the brain of this room. I'm listening for some movement now. Okay, we're fine. So yeah, I'm gonna get rid of this fluoro. I'm just gonna put a this guy. Yeah, let's put this guy up here. And let's drop him here and make him out of this scrap. Okay, so hopefully he'll just stay on that button, so the boss will continuously move right. Oh, he's not heavy enough. Okay, never mind then. I placed him wrong. If I placed him towards the middle, he would have been heavy enough. But yeah, whatever, it's fine. We'll just do the slower way. I was kind of slow setting that up anyway. But yeah, basically we're now in full control of the boss. So what you can do is leave a fluoro there. I leave a sponge fluoro because he doesn't move. As long as you make him out of a material that's not like readily available. So we have to do some blind movement instead now. But yeah, we wanted to leave a fluoro on the button so the boss continuously moves left, and then we can just run up to the other side and make him melt once, and then we can. I think I made it. There we go. Okay. So doing all that movement blind is kind of annoying, but it's fun. All right, and the boss is dead. Beautiful. All right, so now we just return to the workshop. So this is the longest, that's the longest part of the run. Now all these gates open and we can, again, do the rest of the game backwards. So we're now in the orchard, which is beautiful. It's pretty nice.
It's really nice how the game, once you got to a specific part, it just assumes that you have specific items.
Yeah.
Because otherwise a lot of the things that we gained from skipping all of the first levels at first wouldn't help as much.
That's the thing, like, because we now have access to the stuff you're supposed to get by playing this level, you can, like, just, not brute force, but you can, like, really speed up the certain puzzles in this area. Because you're supposed to use what the game gives you, like, by default. So what it, oh god, okay, it's fun. It's like the sponge fluoro dudes, for instance. Like, we're not supposed to have access to them, but the game provides us, like, a few of them. Come on. There we go. Sometimes hovers can be kind of janky, but it's fun. But yeah, we now have full control of how to make sponge fluoros, so it's way easy. So for now we haven't gotten to the numbered puzzles yet, so we're just gonna skip most, or as much as we can, pretty much. It's a big greenhouse here. We're supposed to, like, water this tree and make, again, the sponge fluoro dudes appear. But we can just go up here. And yeah, the hovering is very slow. It's even slower if you have the level 1 nozzle. I have the level 2, which takes a while to get, but it ends up saving quite a lot of time. Because we're doing a bunch of, like, the hover we did to get to mines initially is pretty long, and I need to change to this. Right. Oh, here's the wrong thing. Hang on. I got the wrong eye. There we go. Oh my god. What is this? Okay, I need to give him a little bit extra, otherwise he'll probably die. When you're running through these gates, fluoros lose a little bit of mass. So it's really easy for them to die, but it looks like it's fine. Cool. Good job, fluoro. Yeah, you can also hover over this puzzle, but it's very quick if you do it properly and pick the right fluoro, of course. But yeah, you normally wouldn't be able to do that. You would have to, like, rely on some other stuff in the level, because well, of course you wouldn't have access to the dude. This puzzle is very dumb and very long, so the first numbered puzzle, we skip it. Again, you see the layout of the level there, where at the end there's going to be a bunch of locked doors, and then you unlock them as you solve puzzles. Alright, let's do some flying.
So yeah, in this level the fluoros grow on trees.
Yep.
So, you can you're supposed to sort of water
that's
the
bad.
trees.
That's bad. I shouldn't have hit that tree, because it locks my camera summoning that dude. But it's fun.
You're supposed to water the trees and then sort of shake them to get the fluoros to drop.
Also, there's a really strange bug going on there. The first flurry you shoot here always dies. He never survives, and there's no rhyme or reason to it, but whatever. Just shoot another one, doesn't really take a long time. Right. So I'm gonna be a bit careful here, because the game resets your fluid levels and your equipment when you go past there for some reason. It never really does this in any other... like, it resets your fluid levels sometimes in other areas of the game. But yeah, you see my nozzle just changed automatically there, which is really annoying when you're in mid-hover. All of a sudden you just fall. So yeah, I'm just playing that a little safe usually. Excuse me. And yeah, the game is also filled with secrets. There's like small side puzzles or like hidden paths. Like on top of that, if you follow that waterfall all the way up the top of the mountain, there's there's a little actually, let's do this one. That's fine. Yeah, if you follow it all the way to the top of the mountain, there's some protoplasm for you. That's usually your reward for everything, because it's supposed to be like really scarce resource. Not actually, I shouldn't do that, because I think we need it for the next puzzle. I have a tendency to, yes we do. I have a tendency to just start spraying and create, like, establishing infinite of every single fluid. But sometimes that's kind of bad. Yeah, this is more than enough. You gotta be happy with this. So I think I explained how these guys work. It's not enough, are you serious? Oh my god.
What?
Stingy. There's probably like one drop and then... Yeah, see? Douchebag. Alright, whatever. Yeah, I think I explained how these guys work. If I didn't, the sponge fluorous, they will seek out sources of whatever material they're made of, whatever fluid they're made of. And once they get like to a certain threshold, they explode. Okay, so once again I just press... Wait, do I have to go down these stairs? Yes, I do. Yes, okay, now I'm good. So again, once again, I just open the journal. It stops your... When this cutscene starts playing, it stops your movement. But if you just open and close your journal, you get access or control of your character again, and you can just run during that cutscene. But this puzzle I have no idea how to actually solve. I just do this, and it just fixes itself. It's pretty beautiful.
Yeah, I don't remember how I actually solved it, but I remember being stuck here for a very long time.
Yeah, I think you're supposed to use the sponge fluor for something, because the treehouse is where you actually get him. But yeah, it's very strange. Alright, here we go. Okay, so one thing, like, it's not super important, but I should mention it, is that when shooting those fluoro things and like creating a fluoro, if you change the kind of seed you use, the little mechanical eyeballs are called seeds. If you change seed before the animation of the fluoro like getting created starts, if you change seed during that, you can actually change the behavior of the seed, even though it has the right eyeball, but it has a different AI essentially, or different behavior, which is very bad when that happens. All right, let's get some more fluids going. Because I've been saving water for a long time now, but I don't really need to anymore, so it's fun. There we go. Also, Momo, if you have any donations at any point, just go for it. I'm just sitting here chatting.
I want to give a shout out to Neo Stigma who donated $500.
Oh wow.
The donation message was aimed at Ori, but I figure with that donation we can mention it here as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And that also puts us really close to $65,000 with the matching race so far.
Nice.
So that's pretty close to another milestone. Good job.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, there's still a bunch of really cool donation incentives, so you should check them out.
For sure. Alright. We have infinite green, that's fine, that's all we need. Alright, so we're actually getting towards the end of Orchard. Right here where it says binary liquids, one of the major mechanics of the Orchard is that red and blue goo don't mix. If they touch each other, they turn purple and explode. Okay, let's do this one, and hopefully this one. When you open the seed menu, you're frozen in place. So I'm trying to do them whenever I either don't need to move or I'm falling down stairs or something. I'm not gonna explain the concept behind most of these puzzles. Most of them are pretty obvious, and those that aren't, I don't know, you can figure out for yourself.
Yeah, go play the game.
Yeah, so you see now I can get stuck and then just open and close the journal and we're good. So, you see we need one more numbered puzzle for the final gate and then we'll be good. Here we go. This is also one of the first like major skips I found with using the hover. I used to do this hover without. I should actually keep hovering when I think about it. Yeah, I should have kept hovering there. Doesn't matter. A little bit slower, but we'll just take a little detour. Apparently, a long detour. Sometimes hovering can be really janky, where you seemingly get no height. So it can be a bit hard to manage, but it's usually fun. Okay. And when the camera moves, it's also really hard to get a consistent hover because this stuff happens where you kind of need to hold the mouse under your character, but when the camera moves, that can be kind of difficult. So here we're avoiding like this entire puzzle by just you're supposed to combine red and blue goo to make an explosion happen and push that button, but you can just like fly over there and push it on your own, which actually saves a decent bit of time. Also, I need to be quick for this part.
It's a great thing about the physics system in this game. For example, a button like that, it's not determined that you need an explosion, it only needs like some form of force to push it.
Yep.
Which is really neat.
It's also the old way we used to, or I used to do the gates at the very beginning, where we flew over the gates at the beginning. What we used to do is just hover up to the top, and then and then just hit the buttons with our body. Alright, so this is the worst room in the entire game. This room is awful. Casually or speedrunning, doesn't matter. It's terrible. It's not like I think pretty much the only like really poorly designed room in the game. It's kind of fun when you do it casually, but it's very confusing and it's kind of messy. I don't like it. But whatever, we'll manage. Basically there are 2 more buttons on each side of this room, or 1 button on each side. And we need to create explosions. I'm just gonna do this and hopefully that... Okay, it hit it. What can happen there is you can hit the button, but it doesn't hit enough for the green light to light up, even though the cutscene starts playing. But it's very important that that button is actually pressed. Alright, let's do... Yeah, I have an idea. Let's do this.
One of the main reasons why this is so annoying is because there's both red and blue fluoros just running around everywhere. And especially casually, it's really easy to just accidentally sort of mix them up and just create explosions everywhere and just die.
Yeah, because again, you see these blue guys? I didn't touch any of these guys. These guys just create themselves and they jump around like crazy, like here. So there's a lot of explosions going on. Yeah, let's do. Actually, where am I? There we go. Right, so normally you would have to rely on either blue or red fluoros to push the final button or spin the final like lever. But I'm just gonna create a dude of water made out of water. So he's gonna want to seek out sources of water. And what I'm gonna do is just spray water into this little thing right here. Just go up here, and you can see at the bottom of the screen it like spews water down. So hopefully he's still alive. Oh, here he goes. So yeah, this took me forever to realize that I could do, and it's so good. It saves so much hassle, like relying on AI to just want to behave and actually do what they're supposed to. It just ignores all of that and just leaves you way more in control of this puzzle than normal, and it's really, really good. So this used to be a very, very scary room, and it used to be very random. But yeah, like in my previous PB, I literally lost 3 minutes just to the last dude to hit the button. I had fluoros run all the way up to the button and then turn around, and all kinds of beautiful things. It was a mess. So here we're just filling these cannons with red and blue. Or we spray water into them, and then the water just turns red and blue. And we're gonna combine them in this cannon on the right, and shoot and make boom. And that's the end of Orchard. Alright, so final main level, and then there's one big puzzle at the end. So, as you've seen quite a few examples of, hovers are very good. Infinite fluid and the hover nozzle, or blowback nozzle, combined are very, very, very good. And this is going to be, I guess, as far as like how long the skip is to do or takes to do, this is the biggest application of it, the main application. However, it doesn't save as much time as the pretty simple hover from the beginning of the game to the mines. But this one still saves like 8 minutes. So I spent, probably about a year ago, I spent almost 3 hours rerouting this game, or this level in particular. I found all kinds of cool strats I could use to speed up this part, and a lot of them were really, really nice. I was super happy with them. And then at the end of my like 3-hour session, I found one big skip that ignores all of that. But yeah, it's still good. It's probably in my opinion, the coolest looking strat of the game, because I love tricks that look very obvious, that there's like, you're clearly not supposed to do this. Okay, we're gonna try to jump off the edge of this cup and skip these little thingies. This just ignores everything here, so you're in no danger, which is kind of nice. You can also just ignore this spoon thing. Right. But yeah, I love strats that's very apparent that you're doing something you're not supposed to. I think that looks really cool. Which is why I love a lot of out of bounds and stuff like that. Alright. So what we're gonna do for the skip I'm talking about actually allows you to skip pretty much the entirety of this level. You sadly need to make your way through all of it, but you don't need to solve any of the numbered puzzles like you normally do. You're just gonna hover around the entire like level and access the door to the boss from behind, or from the below actually. Yeah, we'll get to that in just a little bit. So it's gonna be a couple of minutes of us just running through this level, just making our way to the end. So yeah, it's just also kind of interesting how in this game you end up, like, it's supposed to be about fluid management and clever use of the fluoros and solving puzzles and stuff. And for the most part, we hover over things, so just brute force puzzles. I guess it's the nature of a puzzle game speedrun, but it's still kind of funny. So the way collision in this game works is, you see the ceiling does not have collision because you're not supposed to be up here. So you can just like hover over this entire puzzle. It's a lot of things like that. Oops. Yeah, a lot of these puzzles can be... again, this is supposed to be a pretty early level. You're supposed to do this right after the tutorial, essentially. So, the puzzles are pretty straightforward, but some of them, especially the bonus ones, where you get just get the protoplasm, they're not actually required to finish the stage. Some of those are really... They can be kind of tricky. It's a lot of cool puzzles in this game. Here we're supposed to, I think, just make a fluoro or something and make him go all the way up and push the button for us, but just running up there ourselves is faster. Even though we have to wait a little bit for the door to open, or sorry, we have to. The door has been opened, like waiting for us essentially. It still ends up saving a decent amount of time. And here we ignore the whole puzzle. You're supposed to make worker fluoros to push the buttons and open like little ledges for you to stand on. But yeah, hovers are good.
I have a $12 donation from Dreamfox, who says, "Nice run and good commentary. Shout out to Stream2 chat as well. Really pleasant all around."
That's nice to hear. Well, that guy had like a million eyeballs. Yeah, the second stream this year is really comfy, really chill. Lot of cool games there. Right, so I think this is the first numbered puzzle that we're just gonna not do. I guess not the first one, but it's like one of the most obvious ones where you just ignore it. For the other ones, you couldn't even like really see the puzzle. Alright, so in the next screen we get to the main skip of this game. Well, this level I should say, I guess. So once again, we're supposed to go to the left and go down the ladder and extract the chaser fluoro, but since we've already done a lot of other stuff, we don't actually need to. It's kind of nice. So you will also, this is like the main time, or the first time you really see it, I guess. The main mechanic in this level is to create steam by combining water and lava. You never get a lava tank, but you get, well, you have your water tank, and there's plenty of lava in the factory. Alright, so on the right here is going to be the final puzzle of the game, or of the stage, I should say. This one right here, number 9. And what we're going to do is just, like with all the other puzzles, just ignore it. So I'm going to enter here, just to make sure the camera follows me. If you don't like go slightly in there so the camera zooms onto you, this hover can be really difficult to do because you can't see anything. So yeah, we just do a little short hover up here, and then we once again access the or like I mentioned before, access the boss room from below.
Yeah, this strat looks really funny.
Yeah,
Especially if you look at the background.
yeah,
the buildings just floating in the air.
Yeah, it's kinda neat. Like again, I love this stuff because it's so obvious that this doesn't look right. Just walking on this weirdly shaped black box. Right. So I'm gonna play this kind of safe. Also, the shape of these boxes make no sense, but whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna just fly under this thing. You see in the background, you have all the floating buildings, and then everything just turns brown. Not really sure why, but whatever. And you're supposed to climb down a ladder to get to the boss, and the ladder is right here, conveniently. Right. Final boss time. I'm just gonna reset right away to put me in a better position and have more time to set up while the boss is doing his thing. Right, so this is another instance where you're reliant on AI to do stuff. The boss in the middle is going to throw out fluoros, chaser fluoros, and we need to make steam in all these 5, or create enough steam to power all these 5 little things to open doors. We triggered 1 right now, just from the boss itself. So now we're reliant on these guys being able to climb all the way up here, which they're fond of not doing. Oh, okay, that's actually really good luck so far, if I can actually get enough steam in here. Yes, okay, this is so far very, very good. So now we just hope he throws one up here and it doesn't die immediately. I'm just gonna chill out here. I'm just gonna spread a little bit of water on each of these platforms. So this guy's probably gonna die immediately. Yeah, but he should be, yeah, that's more than enough. Okay, this has been super good so far actually. It's rare that they behave this well, because what he tends to do is swing his arm to throw out the dudes, and that hits the edge of the platform, which makes it swing like crazy, and then the fluoros can make it up there. Alright, this has been, like, that's probably one of the best versions of this room I've ever seen. So that's cool, that's really good. You can easily get stuck here for like 45 seconds to a minute just waiting for fluoros to do what they're supposed to do, because of the platforms. Okay, so we just put some water there, and there's gonna be one last fluoro needs to make it up here, and we got one right here. Again, we didn't have to wait for anything pretty much this time. This is good.
Yeah, this was really, really good.
Yeah. Just make some steam here for this last thing, and then we change the boss's like main. Should we play this safe or no? Let's risk it.
It's more fun that way.
Okay, so I'm opening some doors and running into bad guys. Okay, we made it. That's fine. There we go. So yeah, we just basically replace the source of the boss from lava to fire. Lava to fire? What? Lava to water. And then we can pull a thing to just flush him, basically. And now we're on to the last puzzle of the game. This one can be really confusing if you don't know exactly what you're doing. I'm also gonna do it like a different way than intended, because of course I'm gonna do it the fast way, which seems reasonable.
Yeah, figuring this out casually is incredibly hard.
It can be really difficult, yeah, for sure. Right, so I'm making a red dude who's afraid of the dark. Sorry, afraid of the light. And I'm gonna chase him all the way up. Actually, I'm gonna do this right away. We're gonna get it with a little sliding thing going on.
You need to sort of use all of the mechanics from the different levels.
Where am I?
Combined.
Help! There we go, okay. I lost myself, it's fine. So yeah, I'm just making sure he's running before I trigger this cutscene. And again, normally wouldn't be able to move during this cutscene. And that's also why your character's animation bug up. Yeah, here you basically see the solution to the entire thing. So he's finally found out the way to create protoplasm, which is the main thing, I guess, of this whole game. Get in the hole. Oh no. Oh no, this is bad. Go home. Leave me alone. Okay, okay. You can have a new home. Never mind. I'll take it back. All right, let's just close this. Yeah, sometimes these guys don't really behave. Oh god, I don't want to trigger that part. All right. No, come on. I promise I'll be nice. Come on. There we go. Into the hole. Yes. Okay, excellent. Hopefully. Oh yeah. That was beautiful. I'm pretty sure that was flawless. Okay, whatever. Yeah, I'll explain a little bit about the solution in a sec. I'll just make this dude first. Alright, so yeah, your character has finally figured out how to make protoplasm, which is again a super scarce resource, so it's kind of cool. So he's going to combine, he's going to use the explosion of the red and the combination of the red and the blue stuff to like be like a catalyst for a super cool thing, basically. He has stuff spinning around here because he needs stuff to go on, and then he uses the green vapor as like a stabilizer, as I mentioned earlier. And time is coming up. Time. That's not bad. That's not bad. Okay, so if it's okay, I would like to just watch this cutscene for a little bit because I think it's really cute, like the way they end this game. So you've spent the entire game basically correcting your mistakes and taking care of the fluoros that have gone crazy and stuff, and then you just explode into nothing. And combined with the music and like this scene, I absolutely love this scene. I think it's really cool. And you essentially just become a creature made entirely out of protoplasm. Alright, so that's Vessel. I absolutely hope people pick this game up and play it. Well, even if not just picking the game up, just like as a speedrun. I mean, just play it casually. It's fantastic, and honestly, from the speedrun you don't really get spoiled at all when it comes to the puzzles, because the puzzles are really clever, and we just ignore all the clever parts and just hover to the end. So yeah, that's Vessel. Thanks for having me.
Turn around, I can't see your face. Tell me, where did you go? Was it something I did, something I said that made it all fall down? Baby, I need to know, 'cause I'm losing my faith. And the more that I give, the less I get. So tell me we can save this. Where's my happy ending? Can't go on pretending anymore. But always said that love takes work. It's been a bumpy ride. I know how hard you tried, but holding on just makes it worse. It's best to walk away if it's our time to say goodbye. Goodbye.
Look to the sky, out to the stars. Believe what you find, no matter where you are. You can go on and make this world a better one. Days come and gone, feeling undone, shattered and torn. How will we belong again? We stand in line and we amend for a better time.
Fantastic. All right.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. I'm Samuel. That's
I'm Zuketra.
and this is Unbox, which is a 3D platformer from 2016. I'm gonna preload real fast, quit out again, and then we can start the timer. And hope it doesn't do it.
Had a bit of a wobbly start there with the crashes,
Yeah.
but hopefully it'll be fine now.
Okay, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, go.